It's Sunday, time for my sermon. It's a gorgeous summer day here in Florida on March 7th. Boy, actually it's spring here. The woods just burst into bloom. So we're not in summer yet, thank goodness. Oh boy. Morning. Huh. Uh, well, okay, this is a lesson on connecting with God. Um, so I'm going to tell you, okay, do this. You're going to ask a question and look for a signal. My signal looks like this. The question is, can I cure things? I get a signal when I ask that. That was actually a real signal. But it was also I sort of exaggerated for demonstration purposes. Okay. Um, Now, if you just did that, and you're like most people, that is not going to make any difference for you at all. It's not going to make any change in your life. And you won't even remember this movie or that it happened tomorrow. And you just connected, if you got a signal, you just connected with God. That's how you connect with God. you actually get these messages from God. You know, most people think you get it by talking to God, and you do. When you talk to God, you do connect with God, probably. I mean, unless you're just talking at God, in which case, if you do that with God and people, you're not connecting with anybody. So, but assuming that you are talking to God, then you are getting some form of connection. Now, let's look at the kind of connection you can make with what I'm showing you and see how it feels. First of all, when you talk to God, think about like when you talk to God. Assuming you're somebody who does that and likes connecting with God, and you know, it's a part of your life and you think about it. So I'm like, you're my audience, you know, if you're watching this and whatever, and you're not like that, then you might be wasting your time watching this movie. So just say, I'm now in the calm, clear place. And how'd that go? Did you get a signal on that? Now, the big question is, do you feel any different? Okay. So do you feel as though you connected with God? I'll give you a minute so, to kind of, you know, just to examine yourself. Like, do you feel connected with God? Because if you are, then this is all working great for you. Which, let me say again, that the fact that this is working for you and you're doing it and you're able to do it and you just tested that you can cure things a minute ago doesn't mean any of this is going to make any difference whatsoever for you. Lots of people get a signal that they can cure things, but they don't cure their cancer. They die of it. That's what they do. You know, or if they cure their cancer, they're still not where they need to be. Somehow it's still, even though they cured cancer, I've seen this, it cured cancer, didn't make any difference in their life. They were just still who they were but when they got the cancer, which meant something else horrible was going to happen to them. In order to really cure something, you have to actually change from who you were when you got sick to somebody who doesn't get sick. And change is hard. Change is very difficult. My day job is I'm a stock trader. And I thought I was doing pretty good in the spiritual area, of my life. And I also, everybody told me, I had changed, really dramatically over the years. But when I started trading, I didn't realize how much I was going to have to change to actually make money. I had a lot more changing to do. And changing is a big deal. Changing is difficult. And it was difficult for me. And I am good at this. I give lessons in it. The best way to learn something is to teach it, right? And I teach it, and sort of impromptu like this in these movies. And I had a lot of changing to do, and I'm good at this, and changing was very, very difficult. But, it took me a matter of, let's say, months or weeks to make a given change, and then another one, and another one. Every time I had a change, it took me a few days, a few weeks. But at least this God connection enabled me, like a few weeks is better than never. People who don't connect to God never change. You want to change? You got to connect to God. You don't want to connect to God, you're not going to change. And another thing, so many people say, well, I don't believe in God. And they think they don't believe. And what they don't realize is that's a belief system. I don't believe in God is a belief system. Or I believe in the Bible is a belief system. And all these belief systems, you got a belief, you can't connect. In order to connect, you can't believe anything. Because if you connect and what happens is something different than what you believe, I've seen this. There's a woman up the street, a friend of mine who's, is a Christian. She's very, very committed to, I guess she goes to a Baptist church. And she's a really nice person. And I went up and I made a movie with her where I showed her how to cure something. I don't even remember what it was anymore, And then at the very end, she said, well, maybe Jesus wants me to be sick. See?
You okay?
Yes.
All right.
I'm doing this movie, and people walk by and they think, God, this guy is having a nervous breakdown here. There's something. Wait, I hope he's not dying. I better call an ambulance. Anyway, so her belief system absolutely interfered with her connecting with God. even though she was connected to God. This is a person who really is connected to God. When she prays or when she, talks about God and so on, you can just see she's connected to God. And along with that, there's this belief system that she has that interferes with the next step, going to the next level of connection. Like, for example, see, I've always been good with the stock market. My mother taught me, my mother started, the first time I was ever in a boardroom, I was 4 years old. My mother put me on her shoulders and she had me read the quotes on the board. They had a blackboard in those days. They used to write the quotes on a blackboard. They didn't, the usual thing you see in a boardroom is a ticker, That hadn't been installed yet. I mean, we're talking 1949 probably, or 50 in Florida. So that was what my mother wanted me to be, and I finally am a stock trader. After all these years, I did everything else. And I'm glad I did everything else, because I never would have gotten this spiritual connection if I had simply gone into the finance field when I was younger. Never would have gotten this connection. I had to go through everything I went through in my life to get the God connection I have. So that's another aspect of connecting with God, and of course, I'm showing you something that can help you jump doing this, connecting with God this way, will cause you to jump right off your karmic track and go straight into, real connectedness. But hey, you got, that doesn't mean that you're going to do that. And I know that. This may make absolutely no difference for you. And I don't care, I enjoy giving my sermon on Sunday, even if nobody's listening, or maybe a few people listen, but if nobody's applying what I say, all right, well, hey, then my life is an exercise in futility, but at least I'm enjoying myself, right? Hey there.